you can see that down the line to her house, she's also going to be a retired officer, does have a weapon at her location, 9mm. Get my teenage daughter, knowing as needed. Daughter's going to be a white female. Daughter has assaulted her in the family area.
Everyday thing. I've been working here for 12 years now. The best thing about working this job is being able to wear shorts.
Let's go to work, do briefing. Only schedule change is Steve Smith's going to take 5 hours vacation today.
This is meal number 3 of chicken and baked potato.
Yeah, so I grabbed my son by the arm and said, "Going back inside there." Well, she lost it and got a hold of me.
Good old chicken.
A lump sum of $34.1 million.
Complainant's daughter has assaulted her in the stomach area with a fist. At this time, the daughter's in the bedroom, does not have any vehicle, might attempt to leave location.
What seems to be the problem here?
Where's Mom?
She hit on her foot, it's swollen.
Well, she'll be lucky she just got hit on the foot. Poor Shower just got hit on the foot when I was a kid. I got hit all over.
She got right over her legs.
If I hit my mom back, I'd be dead. Why are you crying?
I don't know.
Status, arrested. I've been bodybuilding for 10 years, and I've been working here for 12. And the famous question is, why do you still work here and you're Miss Olympia, 2-time Miss Olympia? My answer to that question is, because I love it.
Nothing gonna stop me. Nothing. Like Ronnie Coleman, flex, hater. That's why I'm flexing on all year long, like I'm Ronnie Coleman. I believe you got me wrong if you think you can hold me. Yeah, you wanna count me out, but you can't control it. I won't let you control it. That's why I'm flexing on them all year long, like I'm Ronnie Coleman. I believe you got me wrong if you think you can hold me. Yeah, you wanna count me out, but you can't control it. I won't let you control it. I'm the type that like to do what can't be done. Walk with wolves, lion hunt with the lions. Bear hug a bear, I don't care. In the valley of death, only God I fear. Count me out, I count me in. Just when you thought I would end, you realize I begin. And that's why I'm flexing. All year long, like I'm Ronnie Coleman. I believe you got me wrong if you think you can hold me. Yeah, you wanna count me out, but you can't control it. I won't let you control it. That's why I'm flexing on it. All year long, like I'm Ronnie Coleman. I believe you got me wrong if you think you can hold me. Yeah, you wanna count me out, but you can't control it. I won't let you control it.
Doctor said he's going to go in and perform a surgery in which he's going to take out screws because all they're doing now is just causing me pain. And when I say pain, it's a lot of pain. It's like 24/7. It never stops. You know, after a while, you be in pain so much, you kind of get used to it, and you just kind of learn to block it out.
I feel bad for people who didn't get to witness what Ronnie was in his prime. Videos and pictures don't do no justice. to witness it, to you know, feel the electricity in the air, to gaze your eyes on that person.
Late 90s, you know, the guys that were there were so good. You had the Kevin Lavrones, you had the Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray.
I mean, if you change the judging panel, Kevin Lavroni could have a Mr. Olympia title. Same could Flex.
What I didn't have, Flex Wheeler had. Flex Wheeler didn't have, Sean Ray had. You know, it ran deep. You know, he had Chris Cormier.
Everyone was so good. You know, everyone was hungry. We were all aggressive, especially like on stage. You don't find someone stepping in front of someone without getting an elbow or something like that. You know, it was just, it was pretty aggressive.
There was no room for anybody else to get in. You know, so you had to be just this another crazy level.
And you need to be able to see those things in order to be able to appreciate what the hell happened when Ronnie Coleman pulled out of the backdrop and
just wasn't human to just naturally to even perceive what he looked like at his peak and at his best.
This guy, Ronnie Coleman, looked like an alien. There was nobody that you could compare that to. Nobody had that.
Meat was just hanging off of his back, and it was just traps.
And lats that were forever long. Pec line that was just, you know, these muscle attachments that would go on forever, seemingly.
Ronnie Coleman had things on his body that we hadn't seen on another Mr. Olympia prior to him, and we probably won't see on another Mr. Olympia after him.
Ronnie just had it all, man. He was strong, he was bigger than everyone, he was more conditioned than everyone, and he just didn't give a shit. Like, he stood up there on that stage and just was like, I'm here, give me my Sandow, and I'm leaving with it. That was it. You had to admire that. He was humble about it. Wasn't cocky, wasn't arrogant. He knew it was his, and he came and took it.
All right, Ronnie, so I want to ask you about your childhood. Can you tell me about your family growing up? I know you were born in Louisiana, right? Can you tell me a little about your upbringing?
First, it was just me and my brother, and my mom, she worked at the plant. It was a clothing manufacturing plant. I can remember when I was young, my mom, she was real good at making clothes too. So she made a lot of our clothes. A lot of our clothes she got from that manufacturing plant. On her second marriage, I remember the guy she was married to this time, you know, he used to take me hunting all the time. We used to hunt like deer and rabbit, squirrel, all kind of stuff. And yeah, that was a lot of fun, but I think the most fun I ever had was fishing. He taught me how to fish, and we'd go fishing all the time. After a while, kind of fishing kind of like developed into a hobby. I got to the point where I was just going just like every single day. I had a bike that I would just ride right down to the local bayou and just fish all the time. So that kind of developed into a small hobby. I always had some kind of way of making money. That's what I remember most about my childhood. Man, I had to be like 12 years old, 13 years old, somewhere in there. I started working at this convenience store. And I would go up there and work, make probably like $1 a day. You know, back then that was a lot of money. And then I had another little hustle where I used to go and had a lawnmower. I used to knock on people's doors and, you know, ask who need their yard mowed. So I made money that way. When I was in high school, I was always making an honor roll every year and every semester. I played football, I was on the track team, and I was on the powerlifting team. I used to do the field events, the shot put, discus, javelin, stuff like that. I always did pretty good in all those events. I always got, you know, first or second, and just about all the meets we went to. This is my trophy case. I don't know if you saw it when we first came in.
I noticed it when I walked in.
Yeah, that's the Arnold Classic trophy right there. I won that most muscular thing too. I won that twice. I got 2 of those. The other one somewhere in there. Yeah, all the sandals up there.
If you had to pick the most special year.
The first one, easy. Yeah, because Flex is supposed to win that. Like I said, I had got 9th the year before. So I was nowhere, in the running for that. So I was like, if I can finally make the top 5, I'll be one happy camper. I never made the top 5 in the Olympia. Never made it.
9th to the first.
9th to 1st, yeah. I started powerlifting when I was in high school. We traveled all over the state, did meets and stuff. And I wasn't that good either.
Wasn't that
good? No. I wasn't good at all. But, those guys they were strong. They were squatting 500 and 600 pounds in high school, yeah. I remember one time I saw this little bitty guy, he was about this tall. He was getting up to 500. I'm like, no way he gonna squat that. Man, he got on there and squatted like it was like 200 pounds. He went down. I'm like, that is not happening. I did not, just see that. he had to be about 15, 16 years old, something like that. And he was short. Blew my mind. I can still see it today. Back then, I could only do like 400, 400, 350, 400. It took me a long time to squat 800 pounds. I used to squat, 7, and 750, like when I was in my early 30s. But when I got to almost 40 is when I got to 800. It takes time. No matter what you do, and I was working out hard too, consistently. Yeah, so no matter, you can't speed up the genetics, process. It takes time.
Ronnie Coleman is a story that lore is made of. This is a guy that lifted weights that nobody else could lift. Because even Arnold Schwarzenegger and Pumping Iron and with Lou Ferrigno, it looked like they were throwing around a lot of weight in the 70s. Like, wow, here's Lou Ferrigno saying, put on another 10 pounds. But, Ronnie Coleman doesn't even warm up with the weights that Lou Ferrigno was lifting, and he's 6'5", 280 pounds. Ronnie was lifting weights that were at the far end of the rack that were dusty, things that nobody would even fathom picking up, and he was doing it with relative ease, with repetitions.
I wanted to work out with Ronnie. I wanted to see how intense the champion's work ethic was. But yeah, you felt like you'd been in a physical fight after that workout.
When I went to the gym, I lift hard, I lift heavy. I'd get in there and I wouldn't stay in the gym no longer than an hour. And the whole time I was there, I was focused. And I think for the most part, I worked a lot of those guys, Like I said, I trained, 6 days a week. I only took one day off. I trained Monday through Saturday, working full-time for the police department. I didn't have enough time to, break my training up and train the body part here and train the body part there and stuff like that, like some of the guys would do that didn't have jobs. So I'd get all my training in one session.
If you can't go in the gym to train like Ronnie Coleman, you don't have a chance of looking like him.
So without having a fear of the weights, and you see this guy throwing this kind of weight around, it couldn't help but press rewind and watch it again and again and again. Suddenly you're not even caring that he's a freak of nature in terms of a bodybuilder. You're just looking at this freak lift this weight.
His mindset is just at another level. Things he do, videos with that amount of weight, it's not normal strength. It's a gift from God, number one, that he has. He's gifted with genetics.
If you're a strong bodybuilder, you have the propensity to put on more weight. The taller you are, the bigger you're gonna be. They can eat and they can outlift you. And the only thing that we would have to rely on was our genetics. Flex Wheeler you can't say flex without saying symmetry or genetics. And that's what made me who I was.
I think Flex had the best genetics in the world, but I kind of outworked him.
You know what? Hey, listen, sometimes, you know, they jokingly say about me, you know, when God made you, he broke the mold. Well, when he made Ronnie, he broke that mold too. He was just a freak.
Hey, Erica, how you doing? Can I get you to give me a hand?
Let me drive your car.
You want to drive my car? Thanks a lot, Erica. You have a good one.
You too.
We'll see you tomorrow.
One thing I must stress about Ronnie, which really annoys me, people sometimes think because of his Louisiana drawl, you know, he's not very well educated, maybe he's not that smart. He's as smart as a whip, and he knows exactly what he's doing. You can never ask him a question with him, but I don't know, you know, he knows what he's doing and why he's doing it.
You know, when I was in football, I kind of like walked onto the team and made the team and worked my way up to first string. I started out, you know, in fifth string and worked my way all the way up to first. I've always tried to be the very best at whatever it is that I've always done. When I was in college, I always tried to be the smartest guy in the class, and if I wasn't, then I would study with the smartest guy. But 9 times out of 10, I was. I started out in management, and then I stumbled up on accounting, and I was real good at it. You know, I was making hundreds on each and every test that I took, and one of my instructors said, what are you majoring in? I like management. He's like, no, dude, you need to change that to accounting because you like acing every test that you go through. He said, I think accounting would be more lucrative than management. So I'm like, okay. Hey, Corey, you ready, man? This ain't no joke. You gotta get that back bigger, baby. Yeah, buddy. Gotta get big. Come on.
So after you retired professionally, you started a business, your own supplement line. Tell me about that.
Every year, the company has grown and got bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're on our 6th year now. We launched in Europe and Middle East, India, did pretty good. And then like 2 years later, we launched here in the US, and we got to the point where we started with 2 products, you know, the first couple of years, and then we worked our way up to like 4, then 6, and then 8. You know, now we are branching out to we got like almost 20 products now. And we started out doing like 4 million the first year, 6 million that year after that, then 8 million, then 10, you know, and then 12, and then 15. So getting bigger and better every single year. Just growing it and, you know, just seeing how far we can take it. Ah, I got it. What's going on with you? You doing all right? Yeah. Man, you know, I ran out of stuff again. I'm always running out.
Yeah, what you need today?
You have peanut butter Kingway? Oh, you got a big one over there, huh?
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah. Go big, go home, right?
How many you got over there?
Got enough? I got 3.
You got 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to take your last one, you know.
Yo.
Hey, man, you talk to, what's the name?
So, yeah, I'm emailing James right now, and then I copied you on the email, too.
Hey, what about that shot? What about that shot you was talking about?
The yeah, buddy shot?
Yeah.
It's not, we're having a problem with one of the ingredients. That one's not
I
ready
ain't that a
yet.
bitch.
Yeah, it's like right now we're having a very good month.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool.
Build this shit and get it out. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That'll work.
Good month.
That'll work. That'll work. We need a damn good month.
All right.
All right, dude. All right. All right, later. When I got out of college, I started looking for jobs in accounting, and most of the jobs I went on interviews, they all required you to have some kind of experience. And, you know, since I never worked anywhere, I never got a co-op job or nothing like that. While I was in college, I didn't have no experience, so I missed out on a lot of hiring. So I just took pretty much the first thing that came along. The first thing came along was Domino's Pizza. I didn't like pizza after a while. I worked for Domino's for 2 years. I remember when I worked for Domino's, I was so poor. I looked forward to going to work so I can eat, because pizza was free, and I ate it every single day. And after a while, you know, about a year or so into it, you know, I'm like, man, I'm tired of eating pizza. But Burger King was right next door to us, and I'm like, I wonder if they tired of eating hamburgers. So I called them, like, hey, y'all tired of eating burgers? They're like, yeah. Y'all want to trade? They're like, yeah, we want to eat pizza. So I would trade pizza for hamburgers. Then as I got tired of eating hamburgers, Kentucky Fried Chicken was right next door to them. So I called them up, like, hey, y'all tired of eating chicken? They're like, yeah, y'all want to trade? But, you know, the whole time I was there, I was looking for jobs in accounting. I went on a lot of interviews, you know, but like I said, everybody was still saying I need experience and stuff. And I'm about 2 years into this, and I'm like, man, I don't think it's gonna work out. And I noticed that every time I got the newspaper in the classified section, there was always a big old ad there for police officers. And they all said no experience needed. So when I went to Arlington, I had taken like 2 tests already, so I kind of like got to Arlington and kind of like breezed through the process. But it was a long process. The biggest thing was the background check. You know, you have these officers, it's like 2 or 3 guys going talking to everybody that you talked to over the years. Like I said, I still kind of like breezed through it, because I never was in no kind of trouble. I always got along with people and never did any kind of drugs or nothing. So I kind of breezed through it because I had a real clean record. I was always trying to be the best. In my first year, I was able to get Rookie of the Year because I worked so hard and tried to be the very best that I could at it, and I was able to get that award.
Girls, take a break. Daddy needs to record something. Turn the water off. Okay, go outside. Oh, Lord, that's so small.
I know.
Do you want to stand or?
Yeah.
For me, he's perfect because he does what he wants to do and I do what I want to do. And at the end of the day, together we come home and we all, have a family time and we don't get in each other's way. At the same time, we work together. Okay, can you read it from here?
Yeah, I see it.
You ready?
Yeah. Hey guys, big Ron here. Just want to let you guys know.
We met at his show, the Ronnie Coleman Classic. A friend knew him and said could meet up with him afterwards. A big group of us all together afterwards, and we all ended up staying up till 5 a.m. talking. Yep. At the end, we exchanged phone numbers.
Let's all make some games together, yeah, buddy?
No. Try again.
Okay. Follow the link below to check out our official website. Let's all make some games together. Yeah, buddy? Hold on, let me see. Keep going off, man. Where's my key for my car? I've always been real fond of kids when I was in high school and college. Had my first one in college. I got my 32 and 33-year-old, my 32 in Houston. I actually have a granddaughter too with her. And Susan has 2 kids, 15 and 13, and then me and Susan have the 4 together here. Who's that? Sophia, Mommy. So, give me a kiss. Mwah. Thank you. Huh? Layla. Hey, girl. How you doing? You doing all right? Did I have a kiss? Did I get a kiss? Mwah. Thank you. Ready to go? You okay, Sophie? You all right, Mommy? What happened? Did you hit your shoulder?
She bumped your head.
She bumped your head? What are you looking at, Layla? Yeah.
Over here.
What's over here? Yep. Layla, didn't you have a jacket on this morning? Layla? Layla, where's your jacket? Do you have a jacket on this morning?
No.
You didn't? You sure? I think you did have one on. Yeah, we got 4 together. See, we got 3-year-old. She's adorable. She's not in any sports and anything right now. She's doing her own thing. The 4-year-old, same thing. She's not in any sports or anything. Just doing the kid thing. And I'm not trying to rush them. Did I scare you? Daddy, I scared you? You okay? Yeah. Give me a kiss. Mwah. Thank you. For the most part, I pick up the 3- and 4-year-old every single day from school. Layla, you blowing the horn, Mommy.
Hey, what is it?
It's a stick. Huh?
It's a stick.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? It's a stick. Daddy, can we take it off?
Mm-hmm. You want to take it off?
Yes, Daddy.
Okay, hold on.
Daddy, I want to take it off.
Man, it seems like their energy level is endless. I mean, they're always going. Even when I get them home, it takes another 2 hours to wind them down to get them into bed. And sometimes they don't even fall asleep. They are watching TV and stuff. It keeps us pretty busy. Oh, wow. I always mix up a king weight shake and then take this Yeah Buddy pre-workout before I train. And I take a stacked NO along with it and take a couple of maybe a multivitamin and vitamin C to go with it.
How much pain do you feel every day on a scale of 1 to 10?
9, 10. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. When I do appearances, my pain level goes up to like a 12, 13. It's almost unbearable. It's almost unbearable. If I'm in a whole lot of pain, I'll just sit and just do the appearance and have people take pictures. But for the most part, you know, I always try to stand up. I've been in pain for so long now, I'm just used to it. I can take the pills too. It helps it a little bit. And like I said, I take about 4, sometimes 5 a day, every single day. They're called oxycodone. These pills right here, I even keep them with me. They 30 milligrams. And they work pretty good. This is the highest potency you can get. It's 30 milligrams. So it eases the pain up a little bit. For about 3 or 4 hours. And then it comes right back. I take another one. Fall asleep? Oh. How's it going?
Good.
Been busy?
Today, not really.
How did you decide to become a professional bodybuilder?
After I graduated from the academy and they cut you loose on the streets, one of the guys saw me on one of the calls, like, man, you pretty big guy, where you work out at? I told him, man, I work out at the station where it's free. He said, you ought to come over to Metroflex, the gym I work at. I'm like, okay. So I go to Metroflex and Brian is there.
Well, my name is Brian Dobson. I'm the owner and operator of Metroflex Gym. We're here in Arlington, Texas.
Brian is the guy that got me into bodybuilding. A friend of mine brought me to this gym. Brian was insistent upon me bodybuilding, told me that I could do good in the sport. Finally told me that he'd give me a free membership, and I said, oh, what the heck.
Brian Dobson, I'm the owner of Metroflex Gym. Been here since 1987. I mean, we get new equipment here and there, but pretty much stays the same, man. I mean, we believe in the old school ways. Our training methods here are hard. I mean, we get criticized a lot for that.
He trained in a dungeon type gym. In my terms, it would be labeled as a shithole. Rusty weights and very dusty and whatever. But that's where he trained because he loved to train.
Yeah, so that plays the trip. I mean, I was from California. We got the ocean breeze coming in through Golden Venice, and I wasn't accustomed to all the heat, 100-some degrees in the gym. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. It's hot as hell in there.
As soon as he walked in, I knew who it was. He had the red sweatshirt on, and you could see the veins, like, bulging through this thing, And of course, I was used to being around champion bodybuilders, but I don't think I'd ever seen that yet.
Brian took me under his wing and taught me all the poses and stuff, and then he would go over, like diet and stuff, and tell me what I need to eat.
The thing that separated him, of course, is just his work ethic from the very start has been supreme. He was never one of them guys you had to push.
My first show, I went in, won first and overall, and I'm like, whoa, I can probably be pretty good at this. When I was in high school, the gym I worked out was like Metroflex. When I was in college, the gym I worked out at was like Metroflex. So I got accustomed to working out at a gym that had no AC, there was dirt on the floor, there was no carpet. And I kind of like fell in love with that type of gym. You get used to a certain thing, you just don't want to change, because that's kind of like what's worked for you your whole life. And you fall in love with it, and that's what you want to do. And that's what Metroflex is. And that's what it's been for me all my life. Yeah, it's what I'm accustomed to doing, and it's what made me successful. So, like they say, if it ain't broke, then you ain't got nothing to fix there.
I knew he could be Mr. Olympia one day. There's no man who trains harder anywhere. I truly believe that if Ronnie put his mind to it, he could set the all-time record in powerlifting, and not only be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, but the greatest powerlifter of all time also. I think Ronnie could be Mr. Olympia until he's 45, 50 years old if he wanted to be.
This is 2000, I'm still here. I've been here for almost 11, 12 years. been the happiest times of my life, and you know, I kind of like hope Brian's been kind of happy with me being here.
Yeah.
Me and Brian is kind of like, you know, an angel to me because, you know, I've been working out now for about 25 years. And when I first walked in that door, Brian had told me I could be a world champ. And he stuck by his belief and his feeling toward me. It's kind of like we got a bond here. So I think we kind of like a family. I didn't do this thing all by myself. I had some help. And right here is my angel, Brian Dobson.
One of the stories that stands out to me goes all the way back to 1992, Helsinki, Finland. I believe that was Ronnie Coleman's first Mr. Olympia. He and I were one of the last at the baggage claim, and I thought, what's he doing here? Like, who's he here with? I didn't know that he was actually there to compete in the competition. And lo and behold, by the time the show was going on, he was backstage warming up. And he obviously was a work in progress. I believe he got dead last in that competition. When it comes to Ronnie Coleman, he was so far back in the pack in my economy of a great bodybuilder. You gotta remember, I came up behind Lee Haney and behind Dorian Yates and with Flex and with Kevin and with Nasser, and those were the guys that made the fabric of the Mr. Olympia. So every time I looked at someone to measure where I stood, it was never at Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie, on a competitive level, he's just never thought about him going into competitions. You know, he was nowhere close. If I was in the first call out, he was probably like in the third or fourth, if that.
He was placing, you know, in the back of the pack a lot of the times.
I didn't even get a call out, you know. I didn't think I could be like with the top guys anyway. So I didn't even qualify for the Olympia in '93. So I went to the Olympia in '94 and placed 15, 16, somewhere in there. But at least they called me out and compared me to the other guys. So 1995 rolls around, and I went to Olympia that year, and I think I placed like 11th, somewhere in there, 12th, somewhere in there. So, you know, I'm moving up in places, and I'm doing a little bit better, you know. In '96, I did pretty good in the Olympia. I ended up in like 7th place that year. So things are getting better and better every year. '97 rolls around, and that year at the Olympia, I got 9th, you know.
I started noticing, you know, this is the first year and the second year, same thing. Third year, same thing. So Ronnie would be on the road with Vicky Gates and just carrying his food. We're talking about you got to go from Spain to compete in Italy, and you know, so he's got this whole thing mapped out. He's taking trains, you know, we're flying and stuff. And I'm like, dude, why do you keep doing this? I felt like saying, why are you wasting your time? I was like, man, what are you doing? I mean, if I wouldn't even do this if I'm not winning. That's my approach, because I'm out there to win. And Ronnie looked at me and he says, because I love doing it. And man, I love bodybuilding. He said, man, I love bodybuilding. You know, when he said it like that, I was like, damn, yeah, you must really love it. You know?
Well, I can remember like it was yesterday. They finally let me in the Arnold Classic. The show before the Arnold was the Ironman, and I ended up in like 3rd place, I think. But the guy who won the show was Lee Priest. I'm like, man, how did he beat me? You know, Lee about this tall. I'm like, I don't know if this is a sport for me. So I'm at the Arnold Classic, and I remember going after the prejudge. I went back to my room. My girlfriend at the time was Vicky, a girl named Vicky Gates. She was competing in the show too. I'm like, Vicky, I think I'm done with this bodybuilding stuff. They let guys like Lee Priest beat me. I don't think this is for me. She's like, boy, shut up. You ain't gonna quit. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, if I do quit, I might lose my free membership to the gym. So I think I am gonna hang around here for a little while longer. So. I've always had back issues from my high school days. I hurt my back in high school, I hurt my back in college. One day out on the football field, something snapped, and I went to chiropractor, and I've been going to chiropractor ever since then.
We're going to utilize the Apollo Code laser here with different types of laser therapies. Of course, we want to protect the eyes. The cold laser therapy is a slower laser therapy that is utilized for musculoskeletal injuries. We're putting this on Ron's muscles here, on the lateral aspect of the paralumbars, and then we're going to work our way down into the sacroiliac joint. Ronnie had injured his back, I believe, when he was doing a squat.
Yeah, it was painful, you know, to have a disc just pop out. I was getting ready for the Arnold Classic at this time. It was December 1996. Wasn't 600 pounds, and you know, 600 pounds for me is like nothing. I always do like, you know, 12 to 15 reps with that, and I was coming up on rep number 8, and pow, the disc just pop out. And I didn't know what had happened, you know, I just heard a loud pop. I thought the guy actually that was spotting me had hit me to get me fired up, you know, for the set. But he told me, no, man, I didn't touch you. I'm like, what was that loud sound? I'm like, he said, like, I don't know. I don't know either, but I'm done with squats. So I went on over and did leg press, did my hamstring, a couple exercises, came home, and I ate, took a shower, put on my uniform to go to work, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still in pain. And I like, should I make this right turn and go to work, or should I make this left turn and go to the hospital? So I made the left turn, went to the hospital, and found out, you know, I had a herniated disc.
Have you ever recommended for Ronnie to stop lifting so heavy?
Yeah, I sure did. You know, Ronnie, he had a goal in view. He wanted to be the #1 bodybuilder in the world. But of course, eventually, with the massive weights that he was lifting, those discs can many, many times pay a pretty heavy price.
Bodybuilding on the surface is, again, it's a great way to build confidence, relationships, overcome fears, but it comes at a price for some.
Ronnie trained hard, but did he train smart? That was the only thing that I questioned, especially now, seeing Ronnie with injuries and everything else.
Through time, I've wished I'd known what I know now, because I still think that you could train not as heavy, but train your body to failure, or train your body to, you know, gain lean muscle mass and not have to train where you're gonna get injured. I think someone like myself, or even like Ronnie Coleman, we were just training pedal to the metal, and didn't matter, and we didn't think, oh, we're gonna get injured doing this. We just did it.
Get to that level, you have to train like that. You know, Ronnie had enormous amounts of size and the quality of the muscle. You know, that can't be done through just sitting there pumping 25, 30, or 40-pound dumbbells. He put the workload on his muscles to make them get to a level to where there were deep cuts, deep striations, and hard work. You know, and that's what his body prevailed. You saw that. You know, so if you're not willing to go to that place where he is going to and train like that and withstand that and live like that and do that and do that and do that, then you don't have a chance against him.
A lot of people don't know it, but I learned from the guys that beat me. You know, I applied the same knowledge when I was in college, you know. If I'm not the smartest, go talk to the guys that are the smartest. When I got to bodybuilding, I wasn't the best, so I went and talked to the guys who were the best, like Flex and Kevin and all those guys, and they gave me the knowledge that took me to the next level.
We were in wrestling one time, and he came to me, and I had won everything, you know, 6 straight shows.
I was placing like 4th and 5th, you know, in every show because I was kind of like burnt out for the most part, you know, from doing all those shows anyway. I did the Olympia, I did the show before the Olympia, so I'm kind of like burnt out. But I remember Kevin is winning every show, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing to win all these shows? So I went to Kevin's room. I like, Kevin.
I was in there eating pizza and stuff, you know, just chilling. I had just one show. Heard a knock on the door. Look, open the door, it's Ronnie.
Hey man, what you doing? You don't mind if I come in here? I want to ask you something.
I said, all right, come on in, big dog. You know, what's up?
Man, what's the trick? What you doing, Kevin?
What are you doing? How are you staying so hard, you know, to win all these shows? He's like, you wanna know what I'm doing? I'm like, yeah.
I said, dude, listen, man. I said, you been carrying your food around. You're so serious, you're measuring out your food, you're doing, you gotta just relax, Ronnie. I said, won't you just have a seat, man, do a shot of his vodka with him.
So he goes over to his coffee maker, pours a little coffee in a cup. Then he goes to the refrigerator and pours out a bottle of vodka. And he pours that into the cup. And he says, drink that. I'm like,
I don't drink no alcohol, Kevin. You know that? I don't drink no alcohol, man. Man, bodybuilders can't do that.
Dude, I don't drink no vodka. I don't drink alcohol.
I said, look, big dog. I said, listen, take a shot of this vodka, man. You'll be all right. I said, you know, just chill, man. Take it easy. So he took a shot.
Man, you sure?
I said, yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm like, okay.
So he drank it, and
man, this stuff don't taste right, man. I ain't used to this in my body, but if you say do it, I'm gonna do it.
I said, all right, go ahead and drink that. All right, so he drank it. We sat down and talked a little more. Talked about training, working out. I gave him another shot. Gave him another shot. Gave him another shot, right? So about the 5th shot, he's like,
man, this stuff pretty good. Got it. Let me have another shot of that. Man, that vodka, that made me feel real good.
So he got up, and I said, listen, eat some of this pizza, ate a little bit of pizza. And he left and went to his room. So I didn't see him till the next morning. We woke up, you know, went to saw him backstage, you know, pumping up, pulled his clothes off. And I looked at him, dude, and my jaw just dropped. I was like, damn.
I drank that coffee and that vodka and went to the show the next day and beat Kevin.
I think that by him having the alcohol, it dehydrated him just a little more, but it was able to also relax him to not think about any food, not think about anything. And I think that relaxed state of mind just let the water just leave his body. And when Ronnie hit that stage, man, it was all over. It was like, where'd this dude come from?
I remember going into the Olympia, they said, Doran ain't competing this year, so the Olympia's wide open. Flex had been getting second, Kevin had been getting second, Sean Ray had been getting second, NASA had been getting second. I'm like, well, I ain't got a prayer.
Leading up to the competition, you know, it was highly anticipated because Dorian wasn't there anymore, and everyone was like trying to see where they were going to fit in.
There was me, Nasser El-Somebody, Kevin. Ronnie Coleman wasn't even on my top 6 list.
The media at the time, which was only magazines, was pumping up Flex Wheeler. You know, Flex Wheeler, you know, Sultan of Symmetry, Flex Wheeler, you know, 93 Arnold Classic, you know, 94. And, I mean, you're expecting this.
He managed to go from getting his pro card to being, you know, the top in Mr. Olympia all in the same year. You know, that was in 93.
His first pro year, he swept through everything. Every pro show, he won. And as the Olympia came, he kind of really expected for that to one day, you know, end up on his mantle.
Flex Wheeler, congratulations for winning the Arnold's Classic. And tell me now, how much did it help you to come out of this kind of a momentum of winning the Ironman competition a week ago?
I think it played a tremendous influence on me, especially that was my first pro debut, and I won that show, and I think it gave me a little momentum going into this show, which I think I needed quite a bit.
Flex was always the heir apparent to the title.
Flex Wheeler was definitely looking to be the heir apparent to the throne.
It was the heir apparent, logically, who would be the guy to win.
From that time, he was always destined to be the next guy.
I would have bet millions he would never win the Olympia. The first 5, 6 years of his career, he was a journeyman pro, had a good few shows, but you never really thought he was going to make the breakthrough.
When I saw him backstage in New York City, I knew that it was pretty much game over for me. It was night and day. There was Ronnie, and then there was everybody else.
We all took off our clothes and went out there to compete. That's when you knew that it was going to be a changing of the guard. And I remember going into the show and being compared to Flex and Kevin and, you know, those guys that I had already won. And a couple of times they had put me in the middle, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good here. They put me in the middle, comparing me to the big dogs of the sport.
I think in 1998, the world had never seen the total package that Ronnie Coleman presented. And when he presented that package, he knocked out a bunch of Hall of Fame bodybuilders in their prime. And although Flex Wheeler thought he was in the hunt, I don't think he was beating Ronnie Coleman in any of the poses.
My goal was just place in top 5, you know. I was like, man, if I can just place in top 5 in Olympia, you know, it'll be a dream come true. And I remember they called, you know, like 5th and 6th, and I'm still standing there, and they called 4th, I'm like, oh, shucks, I'm doing pretty good. 3rd, and I'm still standing there, I'm like, whoa. And then I can remember me and Flex standing there, and they were down to 1st and 2nd. I'm like, wow. I was truly blown away. And then Wayne, when he called out 2nd place, he waited for a long time.
Flex Wheeler.
That's when he collapsed, of course, the famous officer down move that he did. But I think that got to everybody. That made everybody in that theatre, Madison Square, got warm to this guy. Here was the guy, real emotion, had taken the sport's top title when nobody thought I had a chance. It was a rocky story, you know. Everybody was happy for him.
To be at the top, the best in the whole world, you can't get no better feeling in the world than that.
I suspect somebody cut this one open. Was it you?
Maybe.
Uh-huh. Okay. I want you to know these are very, very expensive. You have to just adjust to whether he's going to be here or not be here for long periods of time. And the household is run more or less the same way, but there's just, I mean, there's a few differences, of course, because there's one extra person or one less person. And I have to buy another one now to get your other ankle.
At least I gave you money.
Yes, at least you gave me money. Every now and then it's challenging on me and him, but I mean, we're grown-ups. We understand this is the way it is, and it's okay. And, you know, technology helps a lot. But it's challenging on the children, the girls, you know, because they miss him. And as they get older, they understand better. You know, he has to go, but he'll be back.
I just don't really want to wash the dishes. Only if you come outside with me to play.
After?
I wash the dishes.
Deal. Lola is the one in black, and she is just like me. Susie, the one in blue, she's emotional like me, but in a weird kind of way, she's analytical like him as well. Lola, you gonna come to the swing with us? You gonna get in the swing with sister? Do you want me to push you? No. You don't need me to push you. You know why? Because you're strong. Strong like Dad. One reason we have so many kids is because he and I both love kids. You know, when you choose that, that becomes your world. And I don't know that you change into a different person or you just evolve into the person you've always been, which is the person who cares about the next generation and what happens with them.
He was a simple country boy from Louisiana that came from not having much of a chance to dominate in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie took it to another level with the size.
He was metamorphosizing into something that we'd never seen before.
Ronnie Coleman had reached a point where he didn't look human backstage.
Lee Haney already had the record about numbers. He had 8 Mr. Olympias. Ronnie matched that.
The guys that got second to Lee Haney, when you stack them up against the guys that were getting second to Ronnie Coleman, Ronnie Coleman was putting to waste guys that arguably could be Mr. Olympia.
Well, I still work for the police department, too. I worked, my first 3 or 4 Olympias. I would work for the most part until the Olympia came around. The Olympia came around, I'd take like 3 months off and get ready for the show, and I didn't go to work or nothing.
I didn't even know he was a cop for a long, long time. You know, until he started beating me. So yeah, it brought a lot of attention to him and what he was as a person and as a man, you know.
You couldn't beat him in size, couldn't beat him in condition, and you know, when you just really feeling yourself, I mean, you know, peacock strutting with his tail, all his feathers out.
I think once he tasted victory, he didn't want to taste defeat, and that can move mountains as well.
People wanted to have that size. People wanted to adapt what he has adopted through his physique.
The Mr. Olympia for Ronnie Coleman's confidence was exactly what I think he needed to cement and put the ribbon around who he was. I mean, because it's like winning the lottery, but lottery's luck.
When I first started competing, I was 215, when I turned pro. And when I won my 7th Olympia, I was 296, almost 300 pounds. So I went from 215 almost 300. It was like a gradual thing, getting bigger year by year, so you couldn't really see a whole lot of size come on me at one time. But I do remember the first time I hit 300 because I couldn't bend over.
The bigger Ronnie Coleman years later was not the quality Ronnie Coleman that won in New York in '98. But the judges saw it differently, that Ronnie Coleman was just too big and too muscular. And that's, I think, the turning point in our sport where they started over-rewarding size over quality.
When he started getting bigger, started just losing that look, that small waist, and he just got too thick, which I think was a mistake.
Sometimes he was heavier and bigger and blockier, but he was on such another level in terms of the muscle size.
Ronnie Coleman, you know, still won the 8 Olympias, but it was questionable on the last 2 Olympias that he won, or the last Olympia that he won.
Ronnie was starting to get a little heavier than what was best for his physique. His Olympia look wasn't great.
It was 2001, I did the Arnold Classic, and I decided I was gonna do the Olympia that same year. The night before the show, I'm getting tan. My girlfriend is putting my tan on, and we're in the bathroom. All of a sudden, I just faint. And I've never in my whole life, you know, fainted before. And I wake up, I'm in the tub, you know, I'm like, what happened? They like, you fainted. I'm like, what? It's never happened to me before. And the next morning, when I wake up to get out of bed, I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted, I can't even get out of bed. I know how I'm supposed to feel, you know, the morning of the show, and I'm always very energetic, and I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to fight, and I'm ready to get it on. This morning, I'm very exhausted. I can't get out of bed. I'm so tired. I'm so tired to the point that I actually feel like I'm about to die. So I call my nutritionist. I say, hey, dude, hey, the show is over with for me. You know, I'm going to the hospital. He's like, no, man, don't do that. You put too much work into this. He's like, just grab a gallon of water and just drink as much as you can till you feel like you're okay. So I'm like, okay. So that's what I did. I grabbed a gallon of water. I think I drank about the whole gallon, you know, that morning for the morning show. And by the time I finished that gallon of water, I felt pretty good. And I'm like, okay, I'm all right now. I'm back to back to my old self.
He's at the top, being Mr. Olympia, and then there was guys like Jay Cutler who was chasing him.
I went into the Mr. Olympia every year thinking I was going to win. I never had a doubt. He was an obstacle for, I was trying to be the best in the world. You know, and Ronnie was standing in my way. So every year it was a battle against Ronnie Coleman. I didn't give a shit about anyone else but Ronnie Coleman because I knew that was the only guy that could possibly beat me.
In 2001, a lot of people thought Jay Cutler had beaten him, and he beat him based on the dryness and the hardness of his frame. But the judges saw it differently, that Ronnie Coleman was just too big and too muscular.
Jay was sort of satisfied that he'd made the big breakthrough. I thought he'd won.
When I landed that second place in 2001, I was highly disappointed, even though I may not have shown it on stage, because I put a lot of effort into training for that contest.
The policeman out of Arlington, Texas, Ronnie Coleman. Jay Cutler has to wonder what he has to do to upset the champion.
When I looked at this house, I fell in love with it. It was brand new. I moved here in '96, 21 years. I paid cash for it when I won my first Olympia.
So I noticed you have your own gym here, right?
Yeah. You want to check it out?
Yeah.
Everything that I use at Metroflex, I put in here. My hack squat, my leg extension, leg curl, a calf machine over there. I got a decline, I got an incline, and I got a flat bench. It started at 5 and go all the way up to 200. I even put a T-bar row here. My legs are still numb, so I can't go heavy. I do light stuff. They call the police on me all the time when I used to work out. Cause I be loud. Dude, this way, let's go. It's hot in here. Yeah. I told you we caught the guys stealing out of the cars. You got this monitor right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The lights down there, they come on at night. You walk past and it lights up the whole thing down there.
The day that Jay Cutler actually beat Ronnie Coleman, you could hear a collective passing of the torch. The crowd shift. It just really went straight to Jay. I think a lot of people were making up for the 2001 victory that Jay should have got that he didn't get. People were cheering for the upset. We've seen so much of Ronnie Coleman that eventually, like Mike Tyson, you tune in to hopefully see the champ get knocked out.
The younger version of you is lurking out there somewhere. And, you know, you're going to meet that hellfire person, you know, so it happens.
I was fed up. You know, I wasn't sure how much longer I could keep getting second place. And my whole family came out. You know, I always had my family there, my brothers, sisters, everyone came out. Family, friends, I think I bought 100 tickets for that event that year.
Ronnie came in off. Ronnie doubted himself that night. And I remember being backstage and seeing it, you know, unfold. You know, when you compete at that level, you can kind of sense and see, you get to know people's personalities and their approach and everything. And Ronnie just showed up as a different Ronnie that night.
Ronnie was going for 9 and didn't get 9. Jay Cutler beat him.
The Olympia gold medal to the 2006 Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler!
When Jay knocked out the champ, it validated years of work that Ronnie Coleman had done before him. And there's not a champion out there that's not susceptible to getting knocked out and getting beaten. We've seen it happen. We saw Mike Tyson lose. We saw Muhammad Ali lose. And we saw Ronnie Coleman lose to Jay.
The night I beat Ronnie, 2006, it was a flash. He knew he was going to lose, and I think he didn't think that until the very end because he was Ronnie Coleman. He hadn't lost in a very long time.
I thought it was pretty much automatically that I was going to win number 9 because I had won like 8 in a row. So like, you know, you come up, go for number 9 and like, okay, those 8 were, you know, I worked hard for them. So I'm thinking, you know, number 9 just going to be a breeze.
I, won on that stage, and it was the first time in history that a Mr. Olympia was beaten on that stage.
When Ronnie Coleman was beaten by Jay Cutler, it took a little bit of the shine off. I can only imagine Ronnie Coleman being Mr. Olympia for like 8 times, and then he loses to a guy that he was routinely beating in head-to-head competition.
You know, in the end, it was, it happened. You know, Jay took him, but that wasn't Ronnie at his best. You know, the injuries had shown up, and you know, he was battle-worn by that time.
I didn't beat the best Ronnie Coleman ever. I don't want people ever to think like, oh, well, Ronnie was at his best and Jay was at his best. It's not the case. I just was better that day. You know, time was creeping up. He was going for his record number 9. A lot of publicity going into the show. But I felt bad for Ronnie. I felt bad winning, which is weird. Because, you know, it was everything to him. You know, and he was going for number 9. It was the record to beat Lee Haney's record. And he was upset. You know, he was visually upset.
My name is Mike Heisey. I'm an orthopedic surgeon with Texas Back Institute, and I specialize in spine surgery. So Ronnie came to me from a friend of mine who has known him and has worked out with Ronnie for years and years. And when he had a particular problem with his back that Rob knew that I knew how to operate on, he referred Ronnie to me. And it's an advanced stage of really degeneration, wear and tear, and that's from all of the weight he's been putting through his back over the years. So it had worn out the discs. And he had had operations before I met him to try and unpinch some of the nerves and make room for the nerves, and then ultimately an attempt at trying to hold the bones still that didn't heal up. So we tried to do another operation to get him to heal up and try and improve his alignment. These are the artificial hips now. They're already in by the time I met him. There's one of them and the other. And then you can see the screws, and you can see how collapsed this disc is. We were able to lift it up some. Got his alignment a little bit better. I always got this spacer in here. This is lifted up. We were able to get that one lifted up. You see how collapsed this was. We weren't able to get this one pulled back as far as I hoped, but some. And this looks like it's on the CAT scan. Looks like it's healed. We were able to get the nerves unpinched at that level. Disc is okay, but the joint is wearing to some degree. We see this all the time. Not all of our patients are competitive bodybuilders. It's a common problem, but he puts himself at higher risk. You know, some of the people are going to get it because of their genetics. It's years, miles, and your activity. And his activity, I think, is what put him at the risk. And it's what he lives for, so we're just taking care of it.
Doctor said he's going to go in and perform a surgery in which he's going to take out screws because from that nerve block shot that I had, the pain went away for a whole day. And that showed that the hardware was causing the pain, those screws. Screws just there just to hold the fusion in place. They fused my discs together. They've been there almost 2 years. They've pretty much done their job. All they're doing now is just causing me pain.
He's still working out, obviously. He's still in the gym.
I don't think he'll ever stop.
And do you think it's a positive thing, or would you recommend it or not?
If I had to pick just for his back, it's probably not the best thing. But for his overall well-being, I think he needs to. Step in the room, we'll check out your nerves and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's your wife today?
She's get the kids.
Just scooch on back there. Lift your big toes up for me. Hold them up real strong. Real strong. You're a little weak on this one still.
Yeah, that one's real weak.
Okay, push down strong, down towards the floor strong. That's much better. How about hold it up straight? Hold that up real strong, straight, straight, straight. Hold this one up real strong, straight, straight, straight. Oh, that's gotten so much better.
Yeah.
That's gotten so much better. So much better. Yeah, that's perfect. That may not come back.
That ain't gonna come back.
That may not come back.
That ain't worked in a whole lot of years.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that one work.
I don't think this does either.
No. Yeah, he's an amazing guy in terms of being able to work through things. But with this operation, with as much time as we had to spend, it's not uncommon to have weakness on the leg on the side we go in. And so he had that, and that's been getting better, but it certainly was an issue for him early on post-op. I don't think he's done with treating his back by any means, but I think he is on his way. His recovery, I think, is better than average for what he had to start with. It's not perfect. There may come a time when he wants to try and get it a little bit better, in which case we might extend it up and get a few more levels above or below to correct his overall alignment. I don't think it's going to do anything about getting strength back, but it may help with pain and it may help him stand up a little bit taller.
What happened was they put in 4 screws because the discs were shifting forward and pushing up against my nerves, so they had to clamp them together, and they used these screws. Anyway, those screws ended up breaking. And in the process of breaking, they broke bones in my back, and then the pain got so bad where I couldn't even walk. Hey guys, what's going on? Big Ron here, coming live to you from the Ronnie Coleman Recovery Center.
A lot of people that go through this kind of surgery tend to have the mindset that they may be in a wheelchair. And they say people like that who eventually do go to a wheelchair never get out. And they could, but it's just a mental, thing that they have, and it's never occurred to Ronnie.
I'm ready to take off. Take off his flight in a second here.
Put some nitrous on that wheelchair.
So I stayed in the hospital for like a whole month, trying to get better and trying to deal with the pain. And this is what I get early in the morning for the next day's meal. I'll be having cranberry juice. It was real bad, but I made it through all that, and I started out in a wheelchair, did that for a while, then I graduated to a walker, did that for a while, and then I got to the point where I got the crutches, doing that for a while, and I'm still on crutches, but for the most part, I can walk around the house like short distances, but I use the crutches for like when I have to walk for like long distances and stuff like that, so I can say I've come a long way. The 6 and 7-year-old, they're kind of like figure skaters, both of them. Susan, of course, she's a lot older, so she's a national level competitor.
This family comes first. We're the ones he chose.
Lolo, give me a huggy.
He's very good with them. He's very patient.
Quitting too soon, you might have regrets. You know, Lee Haney was 31 years old, but he had 8 Sandows, nothing else to prove, and he was able to turn the page. The majority of the guys are going to go out of this sport a loser. So how do you go out? You know, I think Ronnie's one of those guys that would go out fighting.
With Ronnie, win or lose, he was always the same, you know, and he's always been very humble like that, and you know, I can appreciate who he is, because that's what makes a champion, is someone that can stand on all stages and be thankful for every gift that they're given, and indirectly affect a lot of people.
I didn't want to see Ronnie Coleman get on stage in 2007. I didn't want to see him push and not get rewarded.
It's hard to advise bodybuilders of that caliber what they should or shouldn't do, because they are in control of their careers. But I think Ronnie Coleman did what was best for him. If there was a way for him to compete tomorrow or next week or this year, Ronnie Coleman, I don't think any of us would stop him from doing it. Thank God he's not a boxer, because he'd probably be, you know, brain dead.
People, they know the type of talent, and they know how hard I worked, and they know I put my all into it. You know, I don't have any regrets about it, you know, so.
Everybody said, oh, what a shame. That's how we'll remember him. No. You'd remember the 8-time champ. Nobody remembers the 4th time. Nobody remembers Muhammad Ali last 2 or 3 fights being a shambles. They remember the king when he was on top. That's how they remember Ronnie. And that big smile and that personality, who's got time for everybody, who's never turned a fan down. I've never seen in a temperamental mood. So he's got a great legacy, as well as being the best bodybuilder of all time. He's one of the most loved, I'm sure.
I just getting up in the morning, you know. Take a minute for me to get going. They really used to it. Never get used to it. I've been here almost 30 years now. Long time. Yeah, when I first came here, it was hardly nothing here. Wasn't many people or nothing. Now, man, it's just doubled in size. Just like that. All of them put up houses everywhere and do all kind of stuff. Make this place huge. I came to this city and this gym about the same time. Over 30-some years now. Yeah.
How you feeling, bro?
Same old, same old. You?
Another day at the office.
Yeah.
A little bit cooler this morning.
Yeah, I was surprised.
It was warm yesterday during the day.
It was warm yesterday. I got up this morning, went outside. When I first got out of the hospital, both of my legs were numb. Now I got to the point where just one is numb. The numbness is going away slowly. I remember when I had my neck done, the doctor told me it was going to take 2 years for the numbness to go away. And I remember 2 years to the date, the numbness went away totally. So I know that if my neck can recover and the numbness can go away there, that I can recover also on my legs and stuff.
If somebody embodied what Mr. Olympia was like, I think Ronnie Coleman probably loved being Mr. Olympia more than anybody else. And I had to be happy for him.
But Ronnie Coleman took bodybuilding to
another whole level when it came to size and symmetry. Size and symmetry.
You know, we had someone like Dorian that introduced mass into the bodybuilding era, but then Ronnie did it with aesthetics as well.
I don't think there's still been anybody since, brought the same combination of size, shape, and condition. Not only with a great chest, not only with a great back, not only with all those arms and everything, shoulders, glute, and hamstring. It was just unparalleled.
He just had it all. He had the training, he had the crazy diet he was able to eat, all these crazy things and be able to still get in that kind of shape. He brought a lot to the table, and he was the strongest Mr. Olympia of all time. He was a beast, and he set a new standard for bodybuilding, which came to my time, and I couldn't get as big as him. Phil Heath took over. He's not even close to big as Ronnie was. They can't compare Phil Heath to Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie Coleman was challenged by Hall of Fame bodybuilders, and of course, in Phil Heath era, he's not.
And I say this today, I still think that Ronnie Coleman at his best would still win the Mr. Olympia today.
I don't know if you could say mind fuck, but it's a mind fuck to the max. Like you can't imagine coming from being an upper echelon of your sport to not being that anymore, and then just have to deal with that part. To be on the other side of that is pretty hard,
I won't lie, I cried the first time. I never told him that or anything, but seeing him because to me his strength was supernatural. I mean, it was so above and beyond everybody else's. It was very, very hard to see that, and especially when the hips went, and he had to use a walker and all that. That was tough for me, and he got down to 215 pounds probably at one point, maybe 220. And I'd never seen him that small ever,
Ola. Wake up.
Nuggets and Whisker up on the Clippers for the 8th spot.
Where you at?
About 5 minutes away.
Okay, all right. I just
5 minutes away.
making sure you made it okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, be there in just a minute. You okay? You feeling good?
Yeah. I'm all good. Ready to get this over with.
I heard that, man. Wish it was already done.
You and me both. All right, we'll see you in a minute.
All right, big bro.
All right, bye. So this surgery is gonna last only like 3 hours, but the only thing about it is, instead of going through my back, because I've had so many back surgeries and I have so much scar tissue there, you're gonna have to go through the front now. In order to go through the front, there's all this stuff in the front, to get to the back. So you gotta take out my intestines, gotta take those out to get to the back. So he said this surgery should last about 3 hours, but the recovery time is gonna be the same as the last surgery, 6 months again. You made it in, huh?
Of
course, yeah, the traffic is always fun. You ready to go? You ready to do this thing?
I remember when the doctor said when he took a break, he would always go out and talk to my mom. She was there the whole time. Fortunately, she's no longer here because she passed away in August from, pancreatic cancer. She was always there at all my surgeries, so, that's gonna be real hard to go through and not have her there because I'm so used to, waking up and seeing her.
Oh, well. All right, Ronnie, let's get this thing done.
Yeah, buddy.
It's very sad, it hits hard for me because, remember, I stood next to him and battled him, and I admired the way he trained. And sometimes I wish I could do that. And now I look at it and say, wow, what did it? I don't know the answer because Ronnie's not going to cry about anything. That's the thing about Ronnie Coleman. He's not going to make excuses for himself. Well, this is why it happened. He'd rather just say, when people say, hey, you're laid up, you had this many surgeries, what do you think? He goes, well, I'm really disappointed I only squatted 800 twice. That's just Ronnie. Everything negative is a positive to him, and that's why he's great.
I think I could have got 5 with 800. I could have got 5 reps. I think I could have got 5 easy reps. But I did the 800 squat, and then I went to the leg press, and I put 2,300 on there, and I got 8 reps. So I kind of made up for it there.
I can't feel sad for Ronnie Coleman because I knew that there would be a price to pay for what he was doing, and I think for him, that price was worth it. Ronnie Coleman was one of the few bodybuilders that paid his house off, bought his mom a house, took care of his entire family, created his own supplement line, and had multiple opportunities worldwide to see the globe as a result of what he did. So if this is the price you have to pay, I think if you ask Ronnie, he'd say he'd do it again. If you ask me, I would say it's foolish. I would never do that. I don't want any of those standout trophies to have the body that 53, 54-year-old Ronnie Coleman has. It wouldn't be worth it for my lifestyle.
And that's why you gotta respect the guy, because he could be crying to everyone, well, I'm so beat up and bodybuilding did this to me. But Ronnie's enjoying his time with his kids. He's doing his travel still. He's making the best of it. He's wheeling in expos in a wheelchair. I feel sorry that it happened, but I don't think Ronnie feels sorry about it because you know what? He just did what he had to do to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time. And he will go down in history as the greatest bodybuilder of all time.
I've been bodybuilding for 10 years, and I've been working here for 12. And the famous question is, why do you still work here and you're Mr. Olympia, 2-time Mr. Olympia? My answer to that question is, because I love it.
Nothing gonna stop me. Nothing. Like Ronnie Cole, flex, hater. That's why I'm flexing on all year long like I'm Ronnie Coleman. I believe you got me wrong if you think you can hold me. Yeah, you only count me out, you can't control me. I won't let you control me.
I was just in China, and there's a language barrier and everything, but whenever I said something like,
the lightweight baby,
lightweight baby, everybody got it without the interpreter.
Yeah, no gain and never fold, I was told. That's why it's ride or die, rain or hail, sleet or snow, full throttle, on go. Now Now if you want,
Ronnie took the time to write back to every fan. And the people around us would be like, man, I can't keep up to Ronnie, you know? He had everything timed perfect, but he would sit and do his emails like at that super early time in the morning to every fan.
commitment, pushing past the pain as you remain persistent. I'm willing to prove I want it better than you. Feel like I'll die if I don't try to show the world my view. I laugh with God while the haters laugh at me. Humbly accepting my victory while casually making them bow down to your majesty. And now they mad at me. I know they mad at me. That's why I'm flexing on them.
I had to throw everything at him from New York, and he said the best burgers out in Texas. I said, no way, Ronnie. I had to take him to Old Homestead. I'm just kind of looking at him. Oh, I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. You know, I took him to Olympia, you know, arguing with him on the best burger in Texas. So bites into this burger. All he kept saying was, man, this ain't no burger. This ain't no burger. And I was like, yes, I think I got him.
Bear hug a bear, I don't care. In the valley of death, only God I'm fair. Count me out, I count me in. Just when you thought I would end, you realize I begin. And that's why I'm flexing. All year long, like I'm Ronnie Coleman. I believe you got me wrong if you think you can hold me. And you wanna count me out, but you can't control it. I won't let you control it. That's why I'm flexing on it. All year long, like I'm Ronnie Coleman. I believe you got me wrong if you think you can hold me. Yeah, you wanna count me out, but you can't control it. I won't let you control it.
And after years of hard work and struggles, you know, I was able to, you know, get that Olympia title. But, you know, that's not the reason why I got into it. The reason why I got into it is because he told me to give me a free membership.